So maybe in America can get away because of its economic power, its political power. Maybe they can get away and say that we don't take these ratings seriously. But for an emerging economy, of course, the world's fifth largest economy, India, can these ratings be damaging?
It's a serious problem because the rest of the world only knows about India what they hear from the likes of V-Dem. The rest of the world doesn't have strong knowledge of what's actually happening in India. If you hear from V-Dem that Indian democracy has fallen to the level of Hong Kong or Vietnam, why should you doubt that if you're somewhere in the rest of the world? On top of that, because V-Dem is so methodologically sophisticated, highly flawed, but very sophisticated, it's embedded in all sorts of other rankings. The Cato Institute rankings use it. U.S. Agency for International Development uses it. The World Bank uses it. That is, when other people are looking for an authoritative gauge of a country's institutions, they go to V-Dem.
In fact, that's the point I was coming to. But let's for a moment talk about freedom of expression. India has a huge media footprint. We have a very large number of television channels and across the country, multiple states, large TV, radio, newspapers, digital, online, social media, broadcasting across the country and to the world. Media is vibrant, vocal opposition, assertive judiciary. What, in your view, then, would explain India at 119 in 2021 against 61 in 2014?
Well, and currently rated on a par with Iran for media freedom, which of course is bizarre. But this is a result of the problems we already knew about V-Dem, that its subjective components, the two-thirds of V-Dem that's subjective, that is all based on expert evaluations. And so India's own intellectuals are rating India, India's own journalists are rating India as having the press freedom of a country like Iran. That subjectivity is baked in. This new paper, though, is really all about the fact that even if we give that, even if we accept that there are problems with this subjectivity, even the objective components of V-Dem are so badly designed that they don't differentiate between a vibrant democracy and a one-party communist dictatorship.
And that should be alarming because ratings like V-Dem, as you point out, it fails to differentiate between a real democracy and a sham democracy. But I want to come back to that question. Would this not adversely impact India's standing and ratings globally?
So first, that word sham democracy is not just my word, it's their word. I mean, I can read from them that on one-fifth of the ranking, our officials elected, quote, a popular election is minimally defined and also includes sham elections with limited suffrage or no competition. This is baked right into the rankings. Now, of course, when other people use these rankings, they don't question the methodology. Look, even I didn't question the methodology, and this is my own area of academic expertise, is international rankings. I had taken this at face value until I started unpacking and trying to ask, why did India score so low on these rankings? Not just attributing it to the answers intellectuals gave, but asking, what are the nuts and bolts of it? Even I hadn't looked into it. So the idea that other people would look into it, that journalists, that fund managers, that people use these rankings as governance indicators, that the idea that they would somehow read the whole report and come to their own conclusion is ridiculous. Of course, they read the overall press release. They get the number at the top line number. The top line number is number 100 in the world, and they discount India's democracy on account. And that's not 100th among democracy. I mean, that's 100th total. Remember, most countries in the world today don't even have real elections. India ranks worse than places like Ivory Coast, which are one-party dictatorships where the opposition leaders have been sent into exile. I mean, it's really incredible. But it rates worse because the problems with measurement are baked right into the methodology. It's not just about it's not just about India's experts giving India low scores. It's that too, but it's also fundamental flaws in the methodology.